So I'm doing a book talk for Plus One, and it takes place in the future, and the people in the future are divided into two groups, the Rays and the Smudges. And the Rays are people who live during the day and they can't go out of their house when it's nighttime. And then the Smudges are people who live during the nighttime and they can't go out of their house during the daytime. Yes.
What happens if they go out?
They get arrested.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about the 2%.
Oh, well.
There's obviously
cover.
some Claire.
That pretty much says it all there.
What does it say, Claire?
It says Plus One.
Equal
And I
two.
think you can draw your own conclusions based on the. Yes.
Can you talk about the characters in the story and how?
Oh, sure. Okay. So, the main character, her name is Soul, and she is a smudge. So she lives during the nighttime, and her brother has had a child, and she wants to capture the child to make sure that her dying grandfather can hold the child. And
But her brother is a Ray.
yeah, her brother's a Ray, so she has to break all kinds of rules and stuff.
Ooh.
And then there's another story stuff. Yes.
How do you know when you're like a Ray or a smudge? Like, how do you get chosen?
Well, like, I guess you're sort of like born into it in the beginning, but you can get transferred. Like, if you do like good things, then you'll become a Ray, and if you do bad things, then you'll become a smudge. Otherwise, you're just born into it. And then, yeah.
Why does it have like a planet and like the stars kissing?
Oh my God! That's the real question. Why not?
Yeah, 'cause, yeah.
Yeah?
Claire,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah?
so awkward.
What?
That's why.
That was a question.
Yeah.
So, is the book good?
It is a good book, yes. Yes.
Why are the smudges negative?
Get it?
I don't understand that. Because night
Yeah, I
time is
don't-
not negative.
Yeah,
At all.
I don't understand that either. They just, I guess that's just the way of life. I don't know.
Society. So this is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is about a girl named Hazel Grace Lancaster, and she has a certain cancer in her lungs, so she can't breathe very well, and she has these tubes that go in her nostril, and they connect to an oxygen tank that she has to carry around with her, and her mom thinks that she's depressed and unsocial, so she sends her to a support group in a church so she can communicate with other people. And at first she thinks it's really boring and she hates going there. And she always sits next to this boy named Isaac, who is about to have surgery and is going to be blind. The next day, Isaac's friend, Augustus Waters, he comes to support group, and Hazel finds him staring at her, like, a lot, and she gets kind of creeped out, but later on, they start talking, and she asks him why he was staring at her, and he tells her that she's beautiful, and she feels that he was really special to her because she didn't exactly think she was beautiful because she had the cancer. And then, so Augustus invites her over for a movie, and then they just get closer and closer, and they share different things about each other. So, and it's a very meaningful story because the things they learn from each other and the things that they do for each other.
So this book talks for Uninvited by Sophie Jordan, and it's about this girl named Davy, and she seems to have like a pretty good life. She goes to a really good school, and like, you know, she's got a boyfriend and everything's like all right. And earlier she got tested for this thing called HTS. It stands for homicidal tendency gene, and homicidal tendency syndrome, and it's apparently makes you like a murderer. And so she thinks like, of course I'm not gonna have it, so she's willing to like get tested for it, and she ends up having it. So they take her out of her school and like away from like everyone she knows, and she has to go to the school where everyone with the homicidal tendency syndrome has to be like they're like locked in this one schoolroom all day. And so she meets a guy named Sean. Claire, don't look at me like that. Named Sean. And at first, like, okay, so if you have it, like, if you have the HTS, but you don't do anything bad, you're pretty much all right. But if you, like, act violent, you get, like, a tattoo, like, around your neck. It's like a thick band. And so he has it, so she automatically thinks he's not a good person. Then she ends up slapping her old boyfriend because he made her angry, and then she gets the tattoo also. So they're both, they both seem like bad people. And then someone who has HTS, like they live in Texas, and someone who has HTS in Kansas, like has this like mass shooting. So they start to, like the president starts to think that they should really do something about the HTS carriers. So they round them all up and they take them away to a camp, like a detention camp. But then like some of the HTS carriers who are like really smart or strong, they get to go to a special camp where they'll be trained to be like to work with the CIA. So she and Sean get to go to that.
And action.
Okay, so hi, I'm doing a book talk today on this book that I just every day by David Levithan, I think. Levithan? I don't know.
It's Levithan.
But, so this book is about a kid who wakes up in a new body each day. And I will refer to him as a he because he wakes up in more guy bodies and he's in love with the same girl. Anyway, so this guy wakes up in new bodies every day. It doesn't matter what, it can be male or female. And when the book starts, he gets in love with one girl, and a lot happens because of that. And he explains that it's always been like this, and there's a lot happening in his life, and he tries not to mess up the other people's lives when he's in the bodies. So there's a lot of action, or not action really, but it's a lot of suspense, I guess. It's a really cool book, and it kind of makes you think differently about life. I would rate this out of 5 stars 10. It's an amazing book. I finished it in less than a week. I loved it. I think people who would like this book kind of like science fiction, realistic fiction. And it's a little mature, so maybe for those who are more advanced readers than regular age would like this book. So it's a very, very good book. I hope you guys will like it. So, any questions at all about it?
Yay. That book was my favorite book all last year.
So the book I'm book talking is called The Testing, and it's set in feature in a place called the United Commonwealth. And what they have to do is they go through school, and then they can be selected for the testing. And the testing is where you go away to a certain facility, and they test you of your knowledge and your skills. And it's kind of like if you succeed in the testing, then you can go on and be successful, be like a leader of like the country. And so it's but it's a lot. It's kind of like a college aptitude test, but worse, considering the fact that if you mess up on it, you get shocked, you get poisoned, you die. So they're running around taking the test, and yeah, exploring. End of story.
Look at the cover.
Isn't there a
So this is a book called Zero no Tsukayami, and it's technically its real name is Zero's Familiar. It's like, you know what a familiar is, right? It's like a person, animal thing that follows you around and is kind of your slave, I guess.
Navi.
Slave. Your slave forever. This book is about that person right there behind the chapter 1 thing called Luis the Zero, because she, like, everybody has magical abilities from one of the 5 pentagon thingies. And then she can't. And like it says now, there's normally going to be things like cats, mice, or owls and stuff like that. And then, that's her name, Luis the Zero.
So who would like this book?
Anyone who likes
Stuff like this normally, and people who like fantasy stuff and comedy, because a lot of times he does weird things and stupid things, and she's like, and she constantly calls the dude that she summoned a dog. It's like, bark dog, you are not allowed to say any word except wolf. And so it's like, wolf for yes, 2 wolves for I understand master, and 3 wolves for I need to go to the bathroom.
I find this book called Girl Stolen because it's an action book about a sweet girl who gets her car stolen, but the guy doesn't know that she's in there, and he happens to be like close age, and so his dad and a lot of people are bad, and they try to hurt her, and she's blind, and she tries to run away, but she can't really escape because she's blind and she got a sickness but was taken, and so it's like this whole action-packed kind of a little bit of romance, and it's like a really good book. It took me like a week to read it because I was so glued to the book. It's really good. Yeah.
100% romance. Who do you recommend this book for?